Welcome to Trauma, Healing, and the Child's Mind series. This journey was born from a powerful personal revelation, a mother's call to transform pain into purpose. We sincerely believe that even from the deepest wounds, wisdom can emerge. Through focused learning and nurturing, our expert team brings unique insights and powerful tools to help you shift your perspective and truly begin your healing journey. At Driven Livin', we're here to support you with resources like the Drive Collective, self-improvement courses, guided meditations, and journaling. If any part of this conversation triggers you, please find immediate professional resources listed in our description. This is our shared path to evolving our paths into wisdom together. I hope you enjoy the series. Breath as Inner Wisdom, Soul Evolution, and Trauma Healing with Alejandra Valenzuela. Our experiences in human form are part of our soul's evolution, and our collective shift is calling us to emerge from trauma and become our own elders. Alejandra Valenzuela is sacred guide and artist discovered the profound power of breathwork as a key to this healing. Through shamanic breathwork, a journey into your subconscious guided by earth wisdom, the elements, and curated music, Alejandra helps you access your inner wisdom for profound emotional, ancestral, and physical healing. This transformative process supports you in releasing old wounds, embracing your inner elder, and evolving your soul's journey. Welcome to the Wellness Driven Life Show, where you're about to go on a wellness-driven ride. Let me share a little bit about the incredible guests that we have on the show with us for this series today. Alejandra Valenzuela is a sacred guide and artist who illuminates the path of soul evolution through the transformative power of breathwork. Recognizing the collective call to heal from trauma and become our own elders, Alejandra acts as a bridge to inner wisdom. She guides individuals into their subconscious through shamanic breathwork, blending earth wisdom and the elements for profound healing and self-discovery. I am so pleased to help welcome to our stage today, Alejandra. Welcome.
Hello, April. Thank you so much for having me here. It is an honor to be with you, my dear sister.
Same. Absolutely. I'm so pleased and blessed for us and the audience here today to bring your story and your healing journey, because we're all on that journey, aren't we? And you have so many life experiences to be able to bring some very fruitful and colorful aspects to all of us. So let's get started by sharing a little bit more about you so the audience can get to know you more.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I grew up in Los Angeles, California. Very normal, typical, little girl growing up. My family is Catholic schoolgirl, my whole life almost. Went to an arts high school, jumped into business in real estate of all things, and then nonprofit at the same time. So I had one filling my, financial pocket and the other one filling up my spirit. And at some point along my journey, I always loved to travel. It was I started it when I was 33. I decided to start taking birthday trips, all places around the world. And when I was 33 years old, I went to Jerusalem. I went to Bethlehem. I wanted to honor 33 years of life. And by the way, I wasn't going to church at the time. I wasn't really a practicing Catholic anymore. But I heard that I had such a connection to Jesus. And I heard that he passed when he was 33. And I thought, wouldn't that be amazing to go to Bethlehem and be in the city where he was born? And so that started a whole series of birthday trips that I would just honor my solar return in various places. And when I was 39 years old, I went to Brazil. And my itinerary plans I had made to visit this spiritual community kind of went a little bit sideways. And I found myself in a spiritual ceremony, a work that broke my soul open. And it was like the voice of the divine coming in saying, Mija, you did a really great job checking off all of these boxes in your life. You're the CEO of a nonprofit. You live by the beach. You have a good car. You have all the things. And please don't think you've made it. There is so much more waiting for you in life that has yet to be seen, things that you can't even possibly understand. And it was this feeling of, oh my God, I'm not living fully in my heart. Are you serious right now? But it was such a powerful message that I had to honor it. And I ended up coming home from that trip. And within 8 days, I submitted a letter of resignation to the board of my nonprofit, who, by the way, they were very lovely and graciously, receiving something that felt like I was leaving. But I found someone to replace me within a week, less than that. And I knew it was spirit allowing me to have an opportunity to journey. And, that kicked off about 5 years of semi-nomadic life in South America and Europe and all these places to help me find my spirit again.
So I love that when things start to work out and they just seamlessly start happening, it feels very divinely led.
Yes.
And so you experience that. And something else I heard you say, Alejandra, is that you were very interested in the astrological aspects very early on because you mentioned 33, Jerusalem. You mentioned that you wanted to travel based on some of that. I don't know the details of that personally. I don't know like the extent of what that looks like. I do like astrology, but I'm not as in depth with it. But I know that there's a lot of things where it can guide you on some really fun things and adventures, right? And so I think that's a beautiful key thing to notate here is that when we travel and we get exposure to other places and things, you mentioned it opened you up when you went to Brazil, correct? And it opened you up into something new, something different, and you heard a message and a calling that you need to go in a different direction. I feel very deeply that the things that happen to us, the most profound things that happen, whether negative, positive, most of the time it is something traumatic, but it shakes us so deeply and it wants us to move in a certain direction for our own soul's evolution and growth. What do you think about that?
Yes, I believe absolutely in that trauma that we experience in life. I'm grateful that I have more ways of turning this gem to look at the different facets of what trauma has actually given me in my life. And even though some have been incredibly horrible that I truly wouldn't wish on anyone. And at the same time, now with years of shadow work and years of really diving deep into what I call our inner soil as children of this earth, I can pull up gems and see, I can cultivate, I understood what it was like to really cultivate strength inside of me, really cultivate purpose, really cultivate healing. And, you know, those come through very hard lessons at times.
They do. Now, some of the things that you do now are really guiding people to go into that, seeking that piece of us within, that inner knowledge. And you have a beautiful quote on your website, which I invite everyone to go check out. And I have it here on the screen for those of you watching. But share a little bit about that, what you feel for what's happening with our world on a collective perspective when it comes to trauma and healing.
I think this is one of the most exciting times to be on this planet. And I do not say that lightly. There is an opening of our collective consciousness that I feel is on the trajectory of ascension. And because of it, picture it like a garden, because it's such a good metaphor to understand. When the seed, you know, that has been planted suddenly begins to sprout. This is what it feels like to me right now, to be on Earth at this time. And there is going to be some chaos, right? When new things pop up, we have to understand it's all part of the growing process. I use lunar wisdom that has guided me and supported me along my journey to help me understand the areas in my life that divine feminine wisdom is telling me to focus on. So new moons and full moons are very easy as a cycle to think about a rhythm that we're living by. And for new moons, we're planting those seeds of intention. And based on your astrological chart, your rising sign will dictate where the moon is going to highlight in all the topics and all the themes. And so what we can start to do is build our intuition. We have these clues. We have these messages from a divinatory language that speaks to us from the stars. And from that place, if we go in silence through breath work, the breath work that I do, it's really guiding people back to themselves for whatever type of healing or awakening or work that they'd like to have happen in their life. It's really there in a very simple, tangible way. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does. And what I love about that is exactly what you just said. It's a very simple, tangible way to really access. I've always said, when you start going within, you know, that's where the true magic happens. And when we're living in fear and we're living in stress and anxiety, it's impossible to do that. And so the simple practice, and I say simple, and most people are like, oh yeah, simple, right? You know, I can't even quiet my mind long enough to do this or that, right? And yes, at first, and it's a practice. And anything that you practice continually, you'll get better at, right? And so that's up to you on if you're willing to do the work, because it's all work. But what feels better? Does it feel better to be living in that constant state of anxiety and fear and continuous trauma and the fear that you know, it doesn't serve you or anyone else. And so going into that breath work that leads to that calming state is just that. It's so simple and attainable. You don't have to buy some sort of magic pill or product or anything. Everything we have is right here with us. And I think, Alejandra, that's something I really appreciate about you, because the earth and you is all you need. It provides everything for you to sustain life and to go into that creative state.
Mm-hmm. It really is. And the moon is the earth's closest dance partner. Think about it.
I love how you say
it is a cosmic rhythm. It's literally a dance in the sky. And I have a dancing background, so I understand it. And when we are looking to do certain types of work, the moon coming in is going to say, here's a good time for that type of work. And then when we switch to the full moon is all about extraction. It's like when you go to the tree and you pluck the fruit that's ready to come off there. And so you use the timing of this wisdom as you do your own spiritual work. And what you are actually tapping into is your innate power. That the new paradigm has nothing to do with, not to get any sort of, I still go to healers. I'm not going to say I don't go to healers. However, what I feel the new earth paradigm is it is a sacred circle of people. It is no longer one particular guru with the power that everybody lines up to go and see. It is all of us collectively becoming our own elders together. And
I just got chills. It's
doesn't
beautiful.
That feel good in your body? Like, doesn't that feel good? Like, don't you feel that your body's craving sacred initiation and remembrance and community? That's all we need.
Yeah. So something I want to paint a really big picture on when you're talking about the timing. And not everybody knows this, so I really want to highlight this because even myself, I'm still learning it and start to listen to it. When you start to do the work and you're going within and you're just quieting the mind, you're learning about meditation, you're learning about that breath work, you're learning about grounding and connecting with the earth and the astrological aspects. But if we think about it really simply, that circadian rhythm that we all are designed to meet and to be with. And an example of that is we function properly and at our best when we follow that natural rhythm of the earth, of the sun rising, we get up, the sun goes down, it's time to go to sleep and to heal and rejuvenate and all of those things. Well, the cycle of the entire earth and the planetary movements and the sun and the moon, what Alejandra is speaking of, all of those things are doing different things to our body. And so we think about what's a good way of explaining it, Alejandra, when the tides are different with the ocean because of the placement of the moon. Right. Our body is what? How much percent water?
Right.
Well, if it's creating different movements with the ocean, just imagine how that has an effect on our bodies as well. And so those are some ways to kind of get an idea of how connected we are with these natural rhythms. And so because we now know that, how do we utilize that to our advantage, right? Mm-hmm. And you really help people and guide people on tuning into that.
Yeah, I call it back to basics. And it is essentially divine feminine wisdom. There is a wonderful book about praying the rosary. And it is called, it's Perdita Finn and Clark, The Way of the Rose. The Way of the Rose. I'm missing the tagline, but it's something like the mystical secrets hidden within the rosary. And there's this wonderful, wonderful invocation at the end of the book. And it's a transmission from our Divine Mother saying, we need to get back to our rhythm, our natural rhythm on earth. And that from back in the day in ancient times when we just had, our feet to move us around in the earth, or even when we sat upon animals like horses to be carried around and taken on our different journeys, we were still connected with the earth, either through us actually walking or the animal itself and its own. Even in ships, when we were actually the muscle power to row the ships, that was also us in a natural rhythm of movement. But because of technology and the advancement in so many things in our civilization, airplanes, that can take us in 12 hours, I can get to Europe from Los Angeles, in a car. All of these vehicles disconnect us from the natural rhythm. And so one of the best pieces of advice I can give is come back to that sense of follow the mother. It's not my advice. I'm following my Divine Mother, and she is my muse. She is who I serve. And it's like, yes, mother. Okay, then I will teach people how to get back to our lunar rhythm, at least, and the rhythm of our breath. And let's go from there. I'll be an initiating starting point. And then people will find their journey and find their rhythm and what expands and opens up for them next.
I think it's such a beautiful thing what you are doing and helping and guiding us all to. We're going to move into our first commercial. When we get back, we're going to continue this very wonderful, important conversation. Stay tuned. Are you ready to take control of your ride to wellness? Rev up with Driven Living. Visit www.drivenliving.com and buckle up for a journey. Get exclusive access to our Wellness Driven Life Show guest portal, where you can dive deep into the minds of our esteemed guests. Sign up for our newsletter and get insider scoops on these distinguished personalities. It's like having a backstage pass to their life-changing wisdom. But that's not all. You'll also receive a free hug. You heard me right, a free hug. An enlightening ebook from the Driven Living team. Discover the science-backed benefits of hugging yourself. It's a fill-up for your wellness tank. Because at Driven Living, we believe in fueling your journey to wellness, both physically and psychologically. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.drivenliving.com today. Welcome back, everyone. Here with Alejandra Valenzuela. Am I saying your name correctly? I think it's so beautiful, and I hope that I'm giving you justice.
Valenzuela with an A.
Valenzuela. Ah,
got it.
Well, I'll have to work on that. Thank you
totally
for saying it properly.
You're doing wonderfully. Thank you.
Yes. And, I was so excited to have you here for this specific topic, because I feel that it's within the healing that we all are journeying on, no matter what has happened in life. And so many of us are stuck in childhood traumas, and childhood traumas are different for everyone. But as a child's mind perceives things with much greater capacity, right? The brain is not developed yet. And so things that are considered traumas to us as children may or may not be something that's a big deal as an adult. We'd look back and we'd be like, I don't know why I looked at it that way, but our brains look at it very differently. And then there's traumas that are very extreme. But the point is, a trauma is a trauma to that one person, that individual, however they may perceive it to be. And so it's going within and working on how do we start lessening that feeling, lessening that reoccurring trauma mind, where we're going back to it over and over and over, whether we know that we are or not.
Right. Yeah. Trauma is a deep study within our world. And a lot of the healing that I have been able to work through has to deal with sexual assault and sexual trauma. It is, when we're dealing with kids, my gosh, you can feel the heaviness of how lost we are as a people when we think about it in the context of this is being experienced in our world. Trauma is ancient trauma, and there's amazing somatic practitioners and experts who have pioneered this field to really be able to learn how to rework our brain. What I love and what I'm finding in breathwork is there's such a magic of being able to tap into the subconscious by the power of our breath, that what I have seen be released in some of these works are things that there's not even an understanding that something needed to be released, but it gets seen and brought out into the light through this particular healing modality. And so, when we're dealing with children, at what age do we start to incorporate these tools, or how can we support them more? That's my study. I don't purport to be an expert at it, but I'm coming on here because I want to have this conversation with you around it. It's very important.
Yeah. Right away, I say we start. I recall gifting my youngest daughter a child's book on breath. I think it was called Breathe Like a Bear or something like that. But it had all of these different things. And I remember my grandmother giving us just a really simple tool. You smell the flowers and blow out the candles. Smell the flowers and blow out the candles.
I love that.
Yeah, just really simple techniques that we can share with our children that they'll understand. I mean, there's so many of them, right? And I think the more that we teach our children and we teach ourselves, I believe too, if we're not familiar with all this work, to treat ourselves as the child. Because really, it's so much of it is that ingrained child experience that we oftentimes don't even know about. And so to really just be delicate and gentle with yourself and not beat yourself up, because we all do it. At least I certainly do. I mean, if anybody's like me, I'm the hardest on myself. Yeah. And so to really just give yourself that grace and be okay with that. I'm not an expert. I'm not great at this, but I'm going to start somewhere and I'm going to give it my best. And that breath work, there was another thing that I wanted to incorporate into this, and now I can't recall, but it's just a simple thing. But let's talk a little bit. Let's give some examples of that breath work, shall we? Like, what does it look like? What's a simple example that somebody could maybe start now with?
Well, I think a lot of times when we get triggered, when we get activated, our nervous system is on high alert, and we need to do some sort of down regulation to get back to center. Because again, if we're thinking about this in terms of rhythm, chaos is not a rhythm, right? It's like that jazz syncopated, but going crazy. So how do we get back to something that feels safe in our bodies? And so a simple technique of breathing in for 4 counts and then exhaling for double that amount. So for 8 counts. And you you'd count in for 4 and then exhale and make it long for 8 counts. If you do this for about 20 minutes, and I would also recommend music. The musical experience just makes the breath work come alive. It is absolutely miraculous, and depending on the songs that are curated, all of it is part of this medicine. This wasn't, I wouldn't say, it wasn't sexual trauma, but there was a group of 3 people that were going to be going to court. And it was a very contentious mediation happening. It was like a family feud. And I told them, I said, let's do something to prepare you and center you so you don't lose your balance when you walk in. And it was just 15, maybe 20 minutes. And there is such a state of peace that they were all able to come out into. And they were truly shocked that breathing for just 15 minutes made that fundamental, such a difference in their state. And that's what we're looking for.
Most of us forget how to breathe and we don't realize, and scientific studies all over the place, we are not breathing as we should. And it's almost as if we have to be retaught how to breathe and make sure that, you're not holding all your air up here and you're doing the belly breaths. It's okay. Extend that belly, especially if you're alone, who cares, right? But that it's very fascinating. But when we are in that fight or flight, everything is going above and, to the larger aspects because we're ready to fight or run. And so most of us are living in that continuously day in and day out. And again, it's just impossible to be able to go into a calm or creative state if that's always where you're at. So learning how to breathe again can make all of the difference in the world. And I love how you highlighted when people were to walk into this really big thing that was happening for them, this huge event. And of course you're stressed and you're freaking out, right?
Totally.
You know, but if you do just some simple breath work, or I love water too. I talk about water a lot. I think that's another thing that can really change the state of yourself. So splashing some on your face or running your hands through it. You know, if you have to find things that are quick to just bring yourself back. Somebody mentioned to me that I have found very, very helpful was that solar plexus. It's an area right above your belly button. And if you just envision coming back into your body in that area, it really has helped me along the way and grounded me, because I think so many of us, when we're in those high anxiety states, we're kind of far out from our body. We're not even fully within ourselves and fully present or grounded. And so just even envisioning that has been helpful for me.
I like that technique. And solar plexus has to do with the power center of the body. So that makes sense when you're wanting to tap into your innate strength, to envision it coming back to you. I do visualizations like that. What's really great if you did a little bit of the breath work to kind of get your body ready for then the visualization. When you're activating theta, when you go into the theta brain state, it becomes a supercharger for manifestation powers. And so it's that's very cool. I like that idea. You're giving me ideas for my full moon rituals and stuff. I appreciate it.
Of course. And we're all here to learn tips and tricks from each other. And, you know, that's the thing too. There's so many things out there. There's so many things that it can become overwhelming. Like, who do I trust? What do I try? All of the things. Well, if it's something that you can do on your own and just try it out, and, you know, and try it out more than once, likely, because it, you know, maybe it doesn't give you the best experience the first time, but try it a few more times and maybe you'll see otherwise. But try a little bit of everything and see what you're drawn to. And that's kind of how I like to go through things, because there is some stuff out there, but breath is really the simplest thing, isn't it?
It is. And I was just invited. I love trying all kinds of breath works. You know, there's so much from India and the yogic traditions that are phenomenal. The Kriya yogas that you hear about, Paramahansa Yogananda. I recently learned one here at an ashram in LA, and it is a daily energetic practice I will do. It feels like my entire body, you know how we shower every day, and, you know, I got ready and dressed for this interview. Well, this is my energetic shower. And I had to, you know, it's based off a yogi's path and tradition. So I'm a Mercury rising ruled sign. I'm a Gemini rising and a Virgo sun. So Mercury, you know, the father of astrology, the patron of astrology, it's like the messenger constantly looking for new things. I'm all about investigating and discovering any kind of modalities. I love adding tools to my belt, if that makes sense.
Yes, it completely does. And I too am Gemini rising.
There you go,
so
girl.
we're in good hands. It has been amazing having you here with us today.
Oh, thank you,
Alejandra. Do you have anything else you want to share with our audience today?
You know, I just would love to say that when we deal and look at traumas in our world, that there is going to be a hopefully new path forged, and it will allow us to really see the context of the wound in its totality. Because part of the trauma that I feel is caught in a feedback loop is when we can't get stuck off of the roles that this person played and this person played. That if we understand our spirit is ancient, and it will take a deeper understanding to realize this might not be my first time here. And if the soul is in a space of non-judgment, I come for experiences for my spirit to grow and learn. And not all of them will be present, because there are some teachings that the light cannot show you. Only the shadow will give it to you. And so it's just my prayer that we can lift out of this victim perpetrator paradigm, not to spiritually bypass our experience, but to come into a place where we understand healing is just part of the journey for everyone involved.
That is so beautiful. Thank you. That some teachings the light cannot show you, that only the shadows can. And healing is a part of the journey. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for our audience. I want to make sure that everyone knows where to find you. So we've had it again displayed here on the screen for those of you watching. For those of you listening in, wildflowerswithin.com. Wildflowerswithin.com. It's also in the description. Be sure to visit it. She's got some incredible things that you can check out. And again, thank you so much for being here with us today. And thank you so much to our audience, because without you, the show wouldn't be possible. So goodbye for now, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
I'm hoping this mask will provide me a safe place to hide.